You've got the hunger, you've got desire, you've got the look in your eyes. You're on a mission, burning ambition. You've got your eyes on the prize. You've gotta rise to the challenge. Show 'em what you got. Step up and take what's yours. You are kings now, Clash of Titans.
Oh my God, look at this weird Brady bunch. Look at us. Holy crap. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. We got Team TTP and Team High Tension over here, and you see it in the middle. They're wearing the cool shirts. I'm jealous. We're going to talk about Camp Leapfrog. Before we get into any of that, please check the links below. With the top links you're going to see are independent wrestling TV. Subscribe. It's literally $10 a month. If you are a pro wrestling fan, support these guys. They're out of Pennsylvania. They're closer than you think. They support local wrestling on a platform that you couldn't even imagine, helping guys get their exposure, getting their name out there. It's a great company. Show them absolute love. If when you do sign up, use code Camp Leapfrog for 5 days free.
Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to last for, but yeah, promo code Leapfrog.
Leapfrog, sorry. Promo code Leapfrog. I think I've been telling people Camp Leapfrog, so that's probably why they weren't getting free. Anyway, promo code Leapfrog, and you can watch this show that we're about to talk about. If you haven't watched it yet, maybe skip this, go subscribe and go watch it, and then come back and watch the replay. We're always going to be here. And also the links below are going to be for High Tension Wrestling. So we're going to link all their stuff, which is a upcoming wrestling brand that's going to be hitting Pennsylvania. It was going to be the Reading area, but who knows? COVID's messing everything up. But
hey, we want to dominate the entire East Coast if possible. So.
Yeah, you're gonna Vince McMahon it. You're gonna tear down the borders of territories. But
and then he's gonna not let people work in other third-party things after that.
Yeah, you're gonna shut down all social media. But this show, I don't want to spoil too much, but if there's any indication of what Camp Leapfrog was, and you can see what High Tension Wrestling can bring to the table, this is a good start. I mean, wait till you guys check this show out. Please go, like I said, go support. We have our links below, but they're not important today. I mean, you can always go check them out another time. But let's get into this. Give us a quick introduction. Everyone knows me and Brian, but we'll start up with you guys. Let people know who you guys are.
Sure. Alex, a.k.a. the Kilowatt. It's my work name. Shoot name Alex. So, yeah, one of the awesome owners of High Tension Wrestling. And
yeah, so I'm Andrew, but also known as the Maestro, Anderson Scott, the other half of the ownership of High Tension Wrestling. And we helped co-produce this Camp Leapfrog that we're going to talk about.
Perfect. I was just checking the audio of everybody while you were talking, and nothing's echoing. Everything's perfect. I need a Jamie. You know how Joe Rogan has Jamie? I need a Jamie. The only problem is now I have two cameras going, and I keep looking at this one, and that's the one you guys see me on, and this is the one that people are watching me on. I'm fucking up big time, guys. Also, if you guys are watching, we have a bunch of people watching in the stream right now. Hit that share button, man. Let people know on Facebook that we're here. I haven't had a chance to share this out to every other platform yet. It's just really on our Facebook page. The guys shared it on theirs as well. But hit the share button. Let people know we're here. You'll actually get a little pop-up alert saying, hey, you're cool. Thanks for sharing. One of those things. It's fun. But yeah, let's get into Camp Leapfrog. Before we talk about the actual event and go match by match here, how did this all come about? What was the initial plan with this, and kind of run us through that a little bit?
Sure. Vice Chair?
Well, so we just kind of we're spitballing ideas, because we were still trying to figure out a way to get high tension wrestling off the ground, even during this pandemic. Because originally we had our first live show scheduled for May in Leesport, Pennsylvania. And obviously, COVID kind of nixed the plans with that. So we were just kind of looking for a way to do something in the wrestling industry. We wanted to get our names out there. So we had this idea to do like a summer 4th of July barbecue type thing where there would be matches, but also kind of just like a hectic, chaotic barbecue thing. And so we approached, at the time, it was the Locker Dicks, because they did, they did like the New Year's Eve thing. So we approached them. Then a lot of things happened, kind of derailed some stuff. And then all of a sudden, this idea came to fruition where it was like a camp setting with Chris Levin, who was a huge, huge part of the entire like production of Camp Leapfrog. So we came up with this summer camp idea, and it was still kind of like the barbecue party sort of atmosphere, but at the same time, there were different things with like camp activities that led to matches, and there were more storylines and things like that. And then we have Camp Leapfrog.
Awesome. How? What was the time frame put this together?
All summer?
Yeah, pretty much all summer, because we were really trying to spitball ideas like pretty much May, because our show was supposed to be May 2nd, and we were like, all right, what can we do? And then originally we had the idea for the 4th of July. So then we were looking at like mid to end of June for something to put out for 4th of July. Then
we were actually going to film at the end of June and then put it out July 4th.
Right.
But then a whole bunch of things happened on Twitter and derailed us for a month. And then that's when the inception of the camp idea came in. And we kind of refreshed it, rebranded it. And then August something or other, whenever we filmed.
Yeah, I think it was the 16th, August 16th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a couple months. It wasn't like it was a lot of shows do take a little longer to prepare, and so there was a lot of roadblocks and stuff. So, I mean, for a short time that was put together, I mean, I don't want to give anything away yet, but overall, like, it was, you guys nailed it, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Brian, do you have any questions before we get into this?
No. I would recommend, like you were saying earlier, anybody who kind of wants to go unspoiled, check it out. You can check it out for free on IW. It's at IWTV.com. I can never remember the URL. IndependentWrestling.tv. I'm looking right at it.
It's in the links below. Yep.
IndependentWrestling.tv. Put the promo code Leapfrog, everything Tony said in the very beginning, and check it out, and then come back and listen to this. Or if you don't mind spoilers, stay put.
Yeah, maybe the spoilers will entice you to go watch it. So
very possible.
Here's a cool thing too. So before we get into spoilers, maybe if you guys are still sticking around here watching this, a lot of names that have graced the PWI 500 attended Camp Leapfrog this year. A lot. Do you want to give us some names there that you have? I mean, I kind of put you on the spot if you can just kind of go off the top of your head.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I know off the top of my head, and if I lose any, I'm sure you can probably fill it in. Matt Mikowski, Molly McCoy, Dasher Hatfield was supposed to be a part of it. Last minute had some personal issues, couldn't make it. Boomer Hatfield, Travis Huckabee, Devontae actually was on there, and who else am I missing?
Trying to think. Was
Still Life without apricots and pears.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say, was Cheeseburger part of it too?
Yes.
Cheeseburger, yes.
Yeah, because that was like a pretty big name on there.
Killian.
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 Yeah.
Yep.
Was any of those guys in the mask? Was any of those guys the ants?
Yes, Green Ant. Correct. Green Ant and Thief Ant were there. So Green Ant was also in the PWI.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I mean,
so yeah, I think a total of 9 in attendance were on the PWI.
Now, a lot of these names, I am just a spoiler. Like, I am horrible with names. So when I say something right or remember something, people on my side are like, "Good job, Tony!" Like, I get like a gold star, I get a pat in the back. So
very good.
I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of guys on this team, a lot of guys and girls on this show that I didn't know, and it was a pleasant surprise watching them. So this has brought a lot of attention to more superstars for me, and for more people to really put on my radar and keep an eye on. So yeah, it was fun, man. So like I said, I wanted to give some recognition out to that PWI. I know some people it's like a sham, and some people think it's this, but listen, if a company that has that much exposure and that much history put your name on a list, regardless of anything, it's a good feeling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think what else will be fun is as we go through the matches and such, I think it'll be fun for Maestro and myself to kind of point out which people that attended Camp Leapfrog we actually had our eye on for high tension already.
Because there were a lot of crossovers. Like there were quite a few crossovers where we had already either booked them for the first show or had them in mind for future shows, and all of a sudden they show up as campers.
Yeah, I know you had already brought up Mikowski. I know he was definitely part of it, and a few others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Quite a few.
So just like the car ride home episodes, Brian, kick us off. Kick us off at the start of this show.
Well, we start in the car of reporter Sam Laterna. She's there to do a little expose on Camp Leapfrog, and she starts at the top with Brad Rush.
Real quick, any Office fans here?
Yeah.
Do you remember the girl who works for the Office, and she tries to seduce Jim in the hotel room? And Jim calls Dwight to spray her with the bug spray to get her out. She was kind of trying to make advances on Jim.
Are you talking about? Was that Rashida Jones's character?
No, this is later on.
No,
this is after he's married.
I think you're thinking of like, is this somebody who's just like on one episode?
Oh,
or something?
yes,
one off
when they're in Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
She went to Florida.
Yes. Okay.
She looks exactly like her.
Okay. See, I was thinking she also looks like Rashida Jones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was where Tony was going.
That's where I thought he was going.
Yeah, I think she looks more. I mean, either way, she's very pretty. But yeah, she reminded me of the other character, not because she's like trying to break up a marriage, but just the character she looked like her. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
And she first meets Brad Rush, who's running the camp and sporting a T-shirt of WrestleMania 8 anthem singer Reba McEntire. But soon they are interrupted by Ethan Wild of Performance Capital, the PC, and they are taking over Camp Leapfrog. Apparently, Brad lost it in a card game in Sheboygan many moons ago. And there's some interstitials here, and next one is Arts and Crafts with Devontae's, who I did look it up while we were talking here. He was I had it and I lost it, 474 in the PWI 500 against somebody who definitely should have been ranked, Deshaun Pratt. Well, first of all, they're going to do some arts and crafts, but Devontae's isn't really into the whole thing. What does tying knots have to do with wrestling? Deshaun's just trying to make it a little more positive, just having him chill out, cool down, but that's not happening. He flips the table, and it's on.
Now, Brian will not like this, but Devontae's is a huge Washington football team fan. So he is higher in my heart. This is someone that when I interviewed Moran, me and Moran started talking about our love for the Washington football team, and he said, there's another wrestler in the area who's a big fan too, and he's a beast, and he has a great look, and I think you should really check him out. And this is my first time seeing him, and what better opponent for me to watch him compete at is Deshaun Pratt, who I think is, we say it, he's the ace of the area. Like, he's the veteran guy that still has the miles on him. Any company can build around him. He could be a world champion, and he probably should be. And he's just fantastic. Who's the guy that we always compare? I'm terrible with Japanese names, but the guy that we kind of say, like, he aces Japan, and this is like...
Well, the ace forever for a decade in New Japan was Tanahashi.
Yeah, so he's...
But there have been a bunch of aces.
He's the Tanahashi of the Northeast Pennsylvania wrestling scene. That's just my that's how we feel on this show. So it was awesome to see someone who I was looking forward to wrestling, watching someone I respect very highly, and I always look forward to his matches in Deshaun Pratt. So right off the bat, you're getting two great guys.
The fun thing for me with this match too is a lot of my experience watching him is either the old Osirian Portal stuff or his stuff in PPW where he's working heel a lot. And here he's the babyface, so it's an entirely different look at what Deshaun can do.
Yes. We get our first look at the high-tension ring. Gorgeous looking.
Yeah.
Gorgeous looking. I like it. I kind of made a call out. I said, you guys can do the thing that PPW does when Impact shows up. You have the perfect post that you can get those long rectangular magnets to slap on the posts and do sponsorships and even put your name out there more and put like high tension on the post. It's a nice ring. I like it a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, after many trials and tribulations of getting it in shape.
Oh my goodness. Lots went into making it Camp Leapfrog ready. We'll put it that way.
And
Yeah.
the visual.
That's going to be your next project, ring flippers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the visual of Camp Leapfrog with the beautiful house and the pool and everyone ringside banging, the grassy fields, the beautiful mountain scenery. It is absolutely heaven. It like I want to hang out at Camp Leapfrog. That looks like a very beautiful place. The only thing I said is when I look at big houses like that, and everyone's like, "Oh man, I'd love to own a house like that." It's like I would hate to cut that grass. I would pave all of it. It would be one giant concrete platform, but beautiful scenery. Yeah, awesome. So, go ahead, Brian.
So breaking down the match here a little bit, Devontae does use his power to get the early advantage here. Just launches Deshaun off of lockups a few times. Devontae is pretty solidly built guy. He looks like a young Mark Henry almost,
Yes.
and he has the big Mark Henry beard that he has now.
Oh, yeah.
He just
kind of
shaved it.
reminds me of if like Mr. T had a baby with
Yes.
Wesley Snipes from Demolition Man.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he just
then
shaved it. He just shaved his beard off.
He did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yep, he did. He shaved it off.
That thing was thick.
Yeah.
And then his tights, like part of the design of the tights, almost look like Ahmed Johnson too, with the red.
He has a
Yeah.
fantastic look.
Yes.
Fantastic look.
He just looks like a guy who you wouldn't want to be across the ring from,
Which
is good.
If
You
I
should
was
have that.
if I was booking a company, he'd be on my list.
Yep.
Well, what I was surprised about too with Devontae is that he hasn't been in the business that long. That was what was incredible to me.
Yeah.
And like he looked like someone who is incredibly seasoned.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he was in there with Deshaun and he was keeping up with Deshaun. He did not look like somebody that's only been in for what was it?
Like a little over a year or so.
Little over a year or something
Which
like
is
that.
wild because he was already on our high tension radar.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the Chikara people were, but I mean, he was up there, and still, like, you wouldn't know he's green. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, just the presence alone. Like sometimes even for a guy that has the look, it takes a while to learn the presence, and he definitely has it.
Even his acting, like when they were doing the skit before the match, he was good.
Mm-hmm.
He looked
Absolutely.
comfortable. It was believable.
He's got that it. He does. He just has that it factor, that you always look for in those wrestlers. He's got that it.
All right, let's get back to that match, Brian.
But Deshaun, he's still trying. He's trying, even though it takes a little while. He works some drop kicks in, some arm drags, but the big thing with the bigger guys like that, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. They don't fall so often. So Deshaun takes a clothesline. Devontae dominates a lot of the match. He gets a near fall toward the end on a spine buster. Gets another one with a very nice swinging flatliner. But he goes for the TKO. Deshaun slides out, lands on his feet, ducks another clothesline, and all it takes is one move: Camden kick, 1, 2, 3, and Deshaun gets the win here.
Let's just talk real quick how is like poetry when Brian talks about a match. This is why I love
it's phenomenal.
I'm putting you over, Brian. Another thing we forgot to do: referees of this show. 3 different refs?
I believe we had Abby, we had Giovanni, and
Chris.
Chris,
who was also a big part of putting this together as well, right?
Huge,
very much so. Yeah,
absolutely integral.
Yeah, so definitely want to give that love to. I know it was a high tension product, but he was just as much at the forefront as anyone else. Awesome. So Deshaun gets the win here. Anything behind the scenes on this match that you guys can let us in on?
I mean, the only thing for me was this was the first match that we taped. So as you saw it as the first match on the card, this was the first match that we taped. And so this to me was going to be the indicator of how the day would go. Because going into this, we had no idea exactly how this would all pan out. Most of these guys and gals hadn't wrestled for months.
Yeah.
Because the pandemic took out most, if not all, the live shows by this point. So we were just kind of hoping and praying that everything would go well because, these guys haven't been in the ring for months and, maybe some of the chemistry would be lost. So just kind of behind the scenes, I was a little nervous about what would be coming out there, but then just seeing everybody just get together and just like seeing all the friendship behind the scenes. I pretty much say this every time, but I just thought it was such an amazing thing. and then getting everybody around the ring where, people haven't been to the ring in months. And I think just that energy behind the first match, this was like the perfect table setter for what was to come, in my opinion.
Set
Like
the bar for the
having
day.
those two guys out there just putting on an absolute banger to start out, like set the bar up for like, okay, this is what the rest of the matches have to top going forward.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, holy crap. Like if this is the first match, I feel like it's only going to get better from here. And to me, I think it did.
It was surreal for me to see this because it was the first match anybody's had in our ring. So it just, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face. It was so cool. And also before the match, during that little skit, I think one of my favorite quotes from the entire Camp Leapfrog is from the witch, Kaya.
Yes.
It's magic shit.
It's
magic shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Visually, first match, you come into this event, like I said, the ring, the backdrop, the house, the everything is just aesthetically pleasing. Seeing everyone around the ring, knowing what's going on here, kind of knowing how you were just saying before that this is the first time everyone's kind of getting together for the first time. People are sitting in lounges, floating in the pool. Like it was just, there was a lot of cool things to look around and try to pick out people you knew, and it was fun, man. It was like, I know the theme of it was like a camp retreat, but it literally seemed like it because you're watching your favorite independent superstars, men and women, kind of hanging out in a location where there's really no fans, and just they can kind of be themselves and they can kind of play the role of a fan as well. It was just a really, like, I know a lot of people are like, wrestling's not the same without the fans, but and then like how they said the WB, they don't like when AEW and WWE when people are faking it in the crowd. To me, I think it's I find it charming because it's like that's the role they don't really, they played growing up, and they can kind of play it again to the people they're still looking like, you know what I mean? So I liked it, man. I think it's a great way to start the show, and
I think to that point, in WWE it seems forced.
yes,
but here
there's a few of them in there that look like they're legit having a good time.
Yeah, because like when we were there, we were ringside. I was worried that this is going to sound like WWE, but it didn't. Like everybody was such like good friends and fans of each other that it was so genuine.
Yeah.
There was no like real heckling. There was a little bit of heckling during some of the matches, but it was all really positive energy, and just watching like your friends do like outstanding maneuvers. Like it was very authentic.
Another thing too that I think sometimes happens in AEW is I feel like you have one or two people in the crowd who try to steal the show as an audience member, and there was none of that as well. Like everybody kind of just stayed right where they needed to be. The camera work was fantastic. The hard cam was awesome, and then the guy who was going around filming it and the way it cut and it was edited, it was beautiful. It was absolutely done perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing that was amazing to me, is that it was all just a two camera shot. That was it.
Yep.
Just two cameras to get all of that footage. Yep. When I saw that, I was like, okay, well, we'll see how this turns out. But I thought it was brilliant how they put it all together.
And I believe when I streamed it, it was in 720, and it looked better than 720.
Yeah.
It streamed at a 720 stream, but it looked gorgeous. All right, Brian, next match.
Well, before the next match, we did have a tug of war with Boomer Hatfield's team against Counselor Moran's team, Johnny Moran, and Boomer wants his campers to just have fun and enjoy the time, and Johnny Moran wants them to win.
Yeah,
whatever you got to do, just win. And unfortunately, they don't. Boomer's team wins because Cajun Crawdad stopped to have a little word with Sam Laterna, and that leads to a little dissension in the ranks there, and a tug of war bull rope match between Cajun Crawdad and Hermit Crab as partner in the tug of war.
Well, real quick, and I know it's our buddy on the shows, or both of our shows and both of our networks. COVID, Moran has been kicking COVID's ass, man. You could tell he's been hitting the gym. He's tightening up, man. He looked great. Looked good.
Yeah, he really fit the role of
the haircut.
Of a somewhat douchey camp counselor.
Yeah. Very.
It always reminds me of those old like ski patrol movies where you have the one ski instructor that's just like the one that's always, he's usually blonde. He's just the one that looks down on everybody.
So
or the tool lifeguard.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like
now you said there's some insight behind that, right, Alex? With the Johnny Moran playing that role.
Well, yeah, he actually was a camp counselor growing up. So that kind of like was his inspiration. He knew a lot of what to do. So there was a couple shots where he was actually like telling the cameraman or production like, "Hey, this would be more authentic if we did it this way." So we kind of took a little bit of direction from him at times too.
And then also, in our chat, you were talking about where
Oh,
Moran was supposed to be a wrestler and not even
okay.
that character at all, right?
Yes. Right. So yeah, that's the super inside info is that originally Moran was booked in that match against the courageous Christina Marie, but due to unfortunate circumstances, she couldn't make it the day. So last minute, he was switched around to an acting role, which was actually almost better for him, I think.
I agree.
He really shined.
He shines in his promos at PPW when he's playing that character. It's Moran, dude. The guy's fantastic. And even Christina, both COVID been really hitting the gym, really getting their craft. They're two people when we get back to crowds, you're gonna be very shocked. They're gonna be in tip top shelf. They look fantastic. So yeah, let's so this is the first notch for me as a viewer experience. That bell drove me bonkers.
You can't have a bull rope match without a cowbell.
I know.
It's wrestling.
I
You
know,
can't.
but it was ear piercing. I was like, oh my Jesus! It's just there. I was like, the only time Christopher Walken, I was like, please no more cowbell. I knew I know it's essential, but it was. I mean, I was also watching it at like 5:30 in the morning, so the bell was louder than everything.
Interesting gear here too, especially with Cajun Crawdad and his romper.
Romper. Well, that's actually what stopped the match. Like, I don't know if it was hard to hear with like commentary over it, but when Cajun Crawdad like lets go of the rope, he's checking out her. He's calling it a romper, but she had like overalls on. But he's like, "Hey, romper pants."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Two guys I knew nothing about going in, or two Jakara guys, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did not know much about them. Entertaining match. I had a great time with it. Just the bell was a little too much, but I know what to look for as a wrestler, like as a wrestling fan, that's got to be there. But it was that was the only thing I was like, oh boy, that's a lot of bell.
They also did a throwback to one of my favorite things Chikara would do, where they have these seashells on the ground, almost like thumbtacks.
Yes.
Where
Yeah, that was
Los
awesome.
Ice Creams would do that with chocolate sprinkles, or we would call them Jimmies in Philly. Yeah, so they would do the same thing, and if you landed on the Jimmies, it was like landing on thumbtacks.
Yep.
They do the same thing here with the seashells.
A little bit of a weird spot here where they go for the superplex or the brainbuster off the top, and they almost fall.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. So people were having trouble gaining their footing on the ring a little bit. I'm under the impression it's a standard 18-foot ring, but I heard people making comments like we have like a bit of a thicker apron, which was everybody liked the idea that they could bump on the apron like pretty safely, and they thought that the ropes were a little bit thick, so it was a process of trying to gain your footing on that, but
okay.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah, and they slip, and then he almost slips up on the brainbuster, but they kudos to them as being talented with how talented they are. They catch that at the last second because he was coming down in an awkward way, and they kind of saved each other there. So one of those things that is, if you're just a casual wrestling fan, you miss it, but if you've been watching for a long time, you're like, whoo, that almost was bad.
But we do get a Fisherman Buster on the shells there, but unfortunately, it's not going to be good enough for the Hermit Crab. Crawdad makes his comeback, but gets low blowed. But he does get the surprise crucifix for the pin there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun match.
Yep.
Fun match.
But the coast to coast is really
cool
too.
Yeah.
Especially the angle they had on that with the camera was wonderful.
Yeah. Once again, camera work unbelievable. Commentary sounds great on top of the audio. That you heard everything in the ring as well. I thought it was very well balanced up until this point. Yeah.
You also had the Canadian Destroyer on the outside on the grass.
That's what I was going to say. That was one of the biggest thuds I've ever heard in my life. And like I was on the other side of the ring, so I didn't see the impact. I just heard like this massive, just solid thud, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "We've already
dead." Yeah.
That was Hermit Crab's head, and I feel like I felt like they kind of nailed it. It looked like it might have been slightly botched. I felt like commentary may have downplayed it a little bit, but yeah, they hit it pretty hard.
Yeah, well, there's one thing you'll never get out of me is, I mean, I'll call stuff out, but I'll call it out to like how they saved it more or less. Because listen, it's botches are gonna happen, and I know a lot of wrestling fans look at it as like it's a knock on you as a performer, but listen, you only get one shot at it, and if anything, it's more of a miracle that they get to walk out of it. That's how I kind of look at a botch. I don't think it as I don't think it as a negative thing at all, unless obviously you're doing it a lot and you're hurting people, but. For the most part, it's
if you
it's part
recover
of the
from
game.
it well and get back into it, like I feel like that gives even more of a realm of authenticity to me.
Agreed. That's how I kind of look at them as
That's
well.
the human element, you know.
Yep.
It's the human element. Nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Yeah, you don't hear "you effed up" chants when like a wide receiver drops a pass or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And believe me, Johnny Moran and Anthony and Devontae have seen that plenty of times, so they're going to know.
Listen here, Alshon Jeffrey. Lost it in the lights.
But history in this match too. We have never seen anybody go coast to coast in a romper until now.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of history.
It's the first time in wrestling history. Me and Brian, we obviously we love each other, but week 1 is coming up very quickly, and the Washington and the Eagles are. It's gonna be interesting to listen to the podcast for a couple weeks, I think. All right, let's get into the next segment and match.
So the next segment is at the barbecue grill, and so we have a line cutter here. Abs is cooking some burgers, but the runway cuts in front of Ron Voyage and Trajan Horn.
Did not know it was him.
Buddy Trajan. I did not know it was him until he came out. Yeah, because he's wearing a mask and he has short hair. I'm like, who's this guy? And it's Trajan.
And he once another one here looks fantastic. He's pretty good. He's going to be the bulk daddy soon. Because he's slimming down, but it's turning. It's a lot of it's turning into he's just getting big, like he's getting like swole. And the new I do miss the hair. I think the hair was a mistake, but it's his head, you know. But he looks great. He looks absolutely fantastic. And anytime you have Trajan Horn in the ring or on camera or in any vicinity, it's always going to be a great time. And he's hilarious. And comedy is where he shines. And he does not disappoint here at Camp Leapfrog.
Absolutely.
But when I heard the name of his team, Trajan and Ron Voyage, Team Kimono Wanalea, I thought they were going to dance atop. I thought they were going to dance atop Camp Leapfrog. Did not happen.
Yeah, that name. Whose idea was it for that name?
Tony's not an old school ECW guy.
Yeah, that's old school throwback there.
Yeah, I think that was their idea too. I don't think that was.
Yeah,
I don't think that was.
What I was saying is, did they write? Was that written in, or did they like that would be a fun name to? Yeah.
Yeah, they just went with it.
Came up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I think originally booked, I think it was Trajan and Tommy Vex that were going to team up, but Tommy had some car trouble. Okay. So again, what a fortuitous situation, not to knock on Tommy, but that the team of Ron Voyage and Trajan was one of the best highlights of Camp Leapfrog.
Yeah,
they had a lot of chemistry, a chemistry for a makeshift team.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And the team they wrestled had great chemistry too. Tyler Klein, Calvin Couture, the Runway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
very fun match.
Yeah, had a lot of fun spots. Trajan just being Trajan, he's all over the place. We got vegans eating hamburgers. It was there was a lot going on here.
Yeah,
you get the pantsing. You get the camp pantsing. Stop going to camp without somebody getting pants.
And good on the runway because he just ran with it. Okay, we'll wrestle without pants. All right, let's go. They didn't let it bother them.
That was great.
I got pants one time, not at camp. I got pants when I was in middle school, and
I'll tell you what,
the person doing the pants and took everything with him, not just the shorts.
No,
yeah, that was.
So I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a story. Just because I feel I need to get it out there. I might have told it on your story. I have no clue.
You've told a lot of stories on this network.
Yeah, I don't think I told this one though. So on the live pre-show on Instagram Live, they had asked a bunch of campers like, "Hey, did you ever actually go to camp in real life?" And a lot of them said no. But I have. I went to camp and I got kicked out and I got banned. Because we were down by the lake or the pond, I can't remember quite what it was, and we picked up a salamander. and it was like an orange and black salamander. And I had dared this other kid. I was like, hey, if you eat this salamander, I will give you like 3 of my shiny Pokemon cards. One of them's like a shiny Gyarados. And he's like, well, of course, for shiny, I'll do anything for these shiny Pokemon cards. So they had to helicopter medevac him and like get his stomach pumped because this was a poisonous salamander. And yeah, that was my last day of camp for life.
God.
And I kept my Pokemon cards.
Yeah, you got entertainment. He almost died, and you get to keep your cards. I think that's a win. That's a win for you. I mean, it's not all. That was a very that was a heel move, man.
Yeah, I was kind of a jerk as a kid.
I think we all were at some point. It's all about growing up. All right. Anything else here? You're gonna see my name pop up. I'm sure. I'm actually got a chance to take a break here and start sharing the page, the stream to some places. Hopefully, some people can check it out here.
I don't know if you could share it to the high tension page. I wasn't able to on my phone.
I shared it to the high tension workers page. So if anyone who was on that cannot, because I know a lot of guys like to hear the reviews of shows, so I put it there. Sure. Awesome. So next up here.
Yeah, one fun note on commentary here was they were saying how the runway wants to replace all the beverages at Camp Leapfrog with Zima. And whenever I see Trajan, and it sounds like an insult because people always remember this guy from later in his career when he had slowed down and the weight became an issue. But I always think of Adrian Adonis, like obviously Dusty Rhodes, but Adrian Adonis when he was in his prime and could move and fly around that ring, despite like being a bigger guy. That's Trajan. He is electric.
You know who? You know who Trajan reminds me of with his creativity, and I think if I think himself as not just a wrestling talent. I think he's someone who can put a Camp Leapfrog is something that he can do himself. Like he has so many ideas when it comes to making stuff like this and being a not just a talent, but as a booker and a promoter and a way to put people over. Like we've had a conversation with him, me and Brian personally, where he has all these really really amazing ideas, and he has so many. Like he reminds me like if he goes for it and maybe starts going this route where he can get film crew and people together, he could be like Janela. Like he would put shows together like that, and I think they'd be very successful.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And then the next thing on here was Abs showing. I think he's taking a liking to Sam too, and he's showing her a little secret stash of some liquid refreshment that's in a garage in Camp Leapfrog.
I think that's definitely something to pick up on, is that he kind of has a crush on her.
Yeah. Abs impressed me here. I thought he was good on camera. And I like that shirt. I think I need one.
I like the tied off.
Fanny pack was cool.
The fanny pack was great.
The tied up and the fanny pack, yeah.
So this moonshot is very potent because we all kind of get a little bit of a VHS flashback here to a Falls cut. Well, first of all, the Midnight Society telling the tale around the campfire.
Are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah, but then we do see a little bit of interruption here because we get an impromptu Falls Count Anywhere match with Killian McMurphy and Violence.
Yes. Now here's my probably only other knock of the show. I thought, now I know they were probably going for this, but for me as watching it and who was on the screen at the time, I would have loved to hear more of what was happening, the banter between everybody, like kind of like how it was like AJ and Undertaker at the Boneyard match. I think that one I would have cut commentary out, and it wasn't a knock to them. I just think that would have been better for this thing. The commentary on this match reminded me of if you were watching your like favorite TV show and you buy the DVD and you listen to the director's commentary where it's like them and the cast. So it was less calling the match and then just kind of talking to each other. This is the only time where I thought maybe commentary wasn't needed, and they kind of took me out of the match a little bit. Because Killian is super entertaining. The stuff that comes out of his mouth is so funny, and the way he can do that, and I think a lot of that was drowned out due to the commentary.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite things that got a little cut off due to the commentary is when Killian goes for the door and he references Monsters Inc. and then says, "What's behind that door?"
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be the only other knock and it's not like it didn't kill the show for me, but I would have loved to hear, maybe this one I would have dropped commentary or I would have let the ambiance of the match, or just kind of let them talk more, because I think you have,
Yeah.
because I always forget his name, but the guy that travels with Killian, the guy he
Dustin.
Dustin is a gangster on the microphone. He can cut a promo, and then he was kind of involved, and then we get somebody else involved later on who I think is a super talented guy in Miles Millennium, who is unbelievable. So it was like a lot of that. I was like, everything about this match was I would have liked more, but I thought the commentary took me out a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I liked definitely from the commentary. I thought there was a lot of good one-liners. They called Killian the Sabu Obi-Wan. Thought that was pretty funny.
I love his shirt, the Outcast shirt too.
And I think my favorite part of that commentary, though, is when Brad Rush, who is the owner of the camp, says something like, "Yeah, it's really dark here. This place sucks." And then the commentator's like, "This is your camp." He's like, "Oh shit, yeah."
Yeah.
Well, no. To be fair, maybe it's like a budgetary thing because he's complaining about the water bill earlier. So
yeah,
Right.
there's not enough money to go around, so he can't afford extra lighting. And like electric's not cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. They did have a lot of one-liners, but like I said, that would be the only. Like, I'm trying. I don't want to make it all rainbows. I think I want to show some. Not like I'm not tearing it down, but I want to show, like, we do it every show. We kind of do one or two things that maybe it wasn't for us, and that was the only thing for me. Like I said, it didn't take
me. If I was splitting hairs, maybe it could have been like a couple minutes shorter. I don't know. Like, yeah.
But I would love to see more of Violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see more of him. I thought he had a great look. You could definitely tell he's in the gym. He is a great. He's it sounds weird to say, like, if you're not a wrestling fan, but he had a great body. You know what I mean? But like, no, like sometimes you go to independent shows and they look like me. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's an upper body business, pal.
Yeah. So when you see guys who actually like work a full-time job and then still trying to stay in the gym and work on this side of their craft too, I definitely try to compliment it. But yeah, man, fun match. Anytime Killian's involved, I'm there. I'm a huge fan of him.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another guy. Killian's another guy that would have been at the inception, HTW inception.
Yeah.
He would have been with us from the start.
He got waterboarded in that match too. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Killian made it, and then we had a few people from this next match in the PWI 500. Yeah. But first, we have a basketball game, a little bit of an argument. When you're calling your own fouls, sometimes there's going to be a little bit of discretion here. And this is something Tony was talking about a little earlier about maybe like the competition between the camps, because that's what we have here. We have the Dogwood Cabin, Team Salt the Ice, Matt Mikowski, Travis Huckabee, and Molly McCoy, against the Tiger Lily Cabin, the team of Oreo Speedwagon, Xavier Faraday, and Josh Wells.
Yeah.
And Vita Von Star.
Yeah. Vita Von Star is another one that we had our eye on. We were really struggling looking for women for the first high tension show, but she's one of the ones we definitely wanted. I think we initially got a peek at her at PPW as Edna Pinhart. If you remember, she came out in the body bag and she had a mask on.
I don't think I was there for that show.
No, that was a decent show, but I'm glad she didn't stick with that gimmick. But then Maestro and myself got a really good look at her at Atomic Championship Wrestling as well.
Her and Molly were very impressed. Molly, right?
Mm-hmm. Molly McCoy.
Yeah, they were both very impressive in this match. And then another one that really stood out to me here was the guy you guys were looking at, the MMA guy.
Matt Mikowski. Yeah. Excellent. He was excellent in this match.
And then the other guy I thought was Charles Mason for most of the match, and then I realized it wasn't. I was like, did he get a new gimmick? And he's like, I think he's always been that. I'm like, never mind, because the camera got a good look at him. I'm like, that's not who I thought it was. They literally have the same haircut.
The one thing I would love to see some area promotion do, I want to see a tag team with Molly McCoy and Adina Steele called Blades of Steel.
Yeah.
Even if they do it one time.
That'd be great.
Yeah. She's been killing it lately, Adina. Did you see her video today? She just did a 300-pound deadlift.
Oh,
she's a psycho, man. She's gonna be jacked.
Yeah, she's come so far so fast. I really do think she's gonna go places.
Listening us get torched on that 25th episode of the PA Pile Punks. I do like how you put out there that she's someone who shows up, helps anything she can do.
Yeah.
There's even more to that. Like there's times where she won't she won't even accept an envelope. You have to force it on her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She is literally doing it for the love of the business, and people and she's just working to get better and better and better. She's someone who's gonna definitely make a name for herself very soon.
Yep, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And with this match, both the women in here were excellent. Everybody was pretty good very good in this match. I love Xavier Faraday's Fresh Prince jersey,
That was awesome.
the Bel Air Academy jersey. Molly in there with the old goon moves, but then like following up with some very good mat wrestling, some good pin exchanges there. Great double team spots. Obviously, Matt Mikowski's grappling is going to be a cut above the rest with his background and everything.
Yep, absolutely.
And then Molly does use the. And also, if you're doing a hockey gimmick and you're orange and black, you're in my heart, especially today. So
yeah.
So she's in there with the hockey stick. Tries again later, but she's stopped by the ref. And then we have a very nice triple team here. We get the mega stuff of Gutbuster, Senton, and Mikowski. Molly gets ronted on her onto him by Vita Von Star. And there's a very close near fall there. And then Von Star gets the pin too. She counters a power bomb into a code red and gets the 3 for Camp Tiger Lily.
Yeah. Now a few things that in this match also the alley oop to the outside.
Yes.
Yep.
And when she slams the hockey stick down, she kind of gives it a no look heel and tries to kick it out of the ring. And I thought somebody down in our bottom corner there was going to eat a hockey stick to the mouth.
Yeah, there was a few times where I was like, "Yeah, I gotta back
up." When she kicked, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna eat this," and then you kind of like caught it. I was like, "Oh boy, good thing you were paying attention. That would hurt."
Yeah.
Yeah, a fun match, man.
Yeah.
A lot of so far. Once again, every single person that's been on this show, I would love to see in another promotion very soon. Very very impressed with everyone's abilities.
Well, this whole match sold me on the idea of having trios as a consistent thing at High Tension. Like, I want that to be something we have. Like, period. Just even if it's every show or something like that. Like, I even threw out the idea of a trios championship.
I'm sold on it.
So it sold me on it. I think I love it. I love just not having the constant tags. You can just jump in. It's a very it's that very lucha libre style. We don't see it too often in America. So I think like kind of bringing that to the forefront. That match in particular sold me on it. And it's mainly because of the 6 people that wrestled in it. Like when Matt Mikowski did that, it was like a ripcord arm breaker from the Argentinian backbreaker. Like that just blew my mind. I was standing there and my jaw just dropped.
I became a very big fan of Matt Mikowski in that match. Absolutely.
Yeah. As someone who took a break from pro wrestling for a long time because the only thing I would watch was mixed martial arts, and then coming back to pro wrestling, but still having a love for mixed martial arts. When someone transitions over and they can carry that mixed martial arts to pro wrestling, and they can make the ground game and the strikes and the punches and everything look so much more authentic, I like it a lot, and that's something he definitely brings to the table.
One of the great news bits that happened this week is GCW is doing their collective finally, the one that was supposed to do WrestleMania week, and Matt was supposed to be in Bloodsport, and hopefully he'll still be involved.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, he's super entertaining. All right,
and with the trios thing, like we were talking about at the very beginning here, unfortunately some things did happen earlier in the summer, very early summer, and if Chikara is gone, then there is a void for that in this area, and yeah, the trios were an integral part of their
creeping right
presentation.
Yeah, we might just end up fostering a lot of that talent and concept.
How crazy!
Not on purpose, but out of just respect for what that product is and what those talents bring.
I don't know how it would work or anything, but if Chikara unfortunately isn't something that's going to be around anymore, maybe you guys can kind of keep that promotion alive in some prep and then keep the triple tag team that they do. You know what I mean? Something like carry that belt over. That'd be something interesting.
Well, I mean, and they took it from Mexico, and in Mexico, that is the most important thing. Trios are what singles wrestling, not even tag teams. It's important as singles wrestling here.
Yeah. I mean, I personally didn't watch a lot of Chikara, but when it did announce that it's going to no longer be a thing, I know sometimes we look at something that happens and they immediately shut down the whole. The entire promotion gets a black eye or it gets that stink to it. But you don't realize how much it affects the people who were involved as well that were innocent bystanders. Like for a long time, that was Deshaun Pratt's home. Andy's first training, Andy Hedder's first training was Chikara. Matt Turner came through Chikara. Like,
well, he was Ring of Honor.
well, he did do a little bit of training there as well too. He said during it wasn't as much as the Ring of Honor, but he did do some stuff with Chikara as well. But there's just so many people who that promotion meant a lot to. So when something like that does close down, there has to be some respect and some
and people never gave it a fair shot even before all this because it's that silly thing with the ants and one of those ants is one of the biggest stars in wrestling now.
It's really hard, I think, in the American wrestling culture to get over a promotion where everybody's mostly masked, and in that style. It was hard for me to get used to it, but now I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into our next segment here.
Yes, so we did have a little bit of chicanery here. Ethan Wilde is from the PC is taking away merit badges from Abs, the oldest camper. Maybe not the best cook in the world. Maybe that should be somebody else's job in the future. But then afterward, Counselor Moran approaches Wilde and offers him some dirt to shut down Camp Leapfrog for good in exchange for a nice cushy corporate gig in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then back at the camp, Sam Laterna has heard something about a food fight, but it is a more literal 5-round food fight where Cheeseburger takes on Still Life with apricots and pears.
Well, before we get to this match, this is the number one spot of the show for me so far. There is a beautiful young woman sitting on the back couch here in this shot, and it is the Savage Granny. For those who don't know, please go over to the Wicked Turtle Network and watch some Savage Granny videos. She is a gem, and to see her sitting there smiling and laughing and being a part of it, just even in the background, is fantastic for me. And already, if I were to give this show a score number, just because Granny made an appearance, it's 10 out of 10. and then we
love it.
Yeah, and then there was somebody else I spotted, but I didn't realize they had such a role later on, so we're not going to address this yet. But there's two big moments for me in this show that are a personal favorite. But yeah, let's get into the food fight.
And also we can't forget Kevin in the corner of Still Life here.
Yeah.
And when it's like 5 rounds, like rounds. Okay, we're doing rounds now. Okay, and then I'm watching the match like, this is World of Sport. Okay, let's go.
Yes. Yep.
Very high energy, very athletic. I've seen Cheeseburger through like Ring of Honor, New Japan. Still Life, very impressed with them. I never really saw them wrestle a whole lot. I was kind of out of Chikara at that point. So yeah, I like this match a lot. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was.
Yep, mine as well.
That dog did not seem to like its owner getting pile drive though. That dog was not happy that entire match. But amazing ring gear, and Cheeseburger is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a technical wizard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like just how and getting to see that up close and in person, just how he worked. And I'd watched him in Ring of Honor and everything too, but to see him that close work the way he did, I was just blown away.
You can really tell why people like Ghetto and Liger like him so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was unbelievable. He's definitely someone I would seek out to watch more matches of.
And he does one of my favorite spots here is the very long running clothesline where Still Life just Still Life just comes with a clothesline of their own. And Al Snow used to do that a lot. He would go to the very entrance. He did it in ECW a few times before the head gimmick. He would go down to the very entrance and he would run down. I remember I think he wrestled like Van Damme or somebody, one of the early ECW pay-per-views, and he was doing that. But we do get into the grappling again. This is very British World of Sport style because that's where rounds that's where rounds in wrestling is. It's a British thing, and the finish especially here is very British. Still Life just kind of keeps working, and they finally get Cheeseburger pinned down and a weird, long, almost backslide, but kind of an abdominal stretch too for the pin.
Yeah, fun match, really fun. I didn't know much of that back history until you just told me now. So now I had more of an appreciation for the match after now hearing that. I didn't know that Brian's the encyclopedia, man. He's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Well, that's one of the main things I say about Camp Leapfrog is that I feel like even though not everything on the show might be for a specific person, there's something for everybody. Like
Yeah.
you can get a taste of
exactly.
all the different wrestling that's not just in America, but around the world. You have the Lucha Libre style trios. You have the British rounds match. You have the comedy match. You just have a solid opener. And then, obviously we have some other things coming up too. But it's a mix of everything.
I think the opener is very much the American style. They told a story. It was very simple. It's, can Deshaun Pratt chop this guy down? And he does.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything had its own little thing, and everything felt distinct and different.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm having a blast with it so far. It's a great show. I already into this thing. I was like, I want more Leapfrog, man. I want more Camp Leapfrog. I think you guys are onto something here.
So then we have the musical interlude here with our very own Anderson Scott here with the camp song that is unfortunately massacred "Salute Your Short" style by the campers.
Yep.
Very much so. Those ungrateful campers.
I vote for a Camp Leapfrog T-shirt with those lyrics on the back. I think that's a golden idea right there, and I'll take an extra large. But the lyrics are fantastic, and they're very wrestling related, and this was a good time.
Have you thought about putting that up on like Spotify or anywhere, the song, or?
I haven't put it up on Spotify, but I've slowly creeped it up. I do have a YouTube channel and a SoundCloud that I slowly am creeping things on. So it's on the YouTube channel now. But I still got to get it up on SoundCloud. But I'm slowly starting to get some of those things because especially with the next match, we'll talk about the Battle Royal. I want to kind of put that music out there. Pretty much any little music stuff you heard throughout here that was based off the Camp Leapfrog thing that I was able to just finagle in there. So I want to try to get that stuff out there in case people enjoy listening to that they can listen to it when they want.
Yeah, so that's kind of another behind the scenes there. Not only are you an amazing wrestling fan, not only are you part of High Tension Wrestling, but you also compose and make really good music as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So a lot of the stuff you're going to hear for High Tension and the music and all that other that's all composed by you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to do. As soon as I was approached with the whole idea, because that was the main idea, was I was approached with, we want to do a song like Salute Your Shorts. That was the exact inspiration. Mm-hmm. So it was and that was from the start. And I was just so excited to be oh my gosh, I could do that. I could do that. That's so cool. And, just making it all wrestling related and then making it so that I can write words that the guys messed up, but then also coming up with the real version. And I don't know. It was just extra fun on top of everything else that was just super fun with this show.
Yeah, that was the first thing one of the things I said to Alex as we were live streaming. I was live stream tweeting him. I was like, I'm getting a huge Salute Your Shorts vibe off this entire show, and he goes, "That's exactly what we were going for." Yep. Yeah. All right. The next thing here.
Yeah, you have Salute Your Shorts, and you have Are You Afraid of the Dark with the Falls Count Anywhere match, and almost like a Hey Dude thing with the bull rope match too. If you want to go way back into the way back and then, into the.
What was the other one you said, Alex? The 80s thing, the camp thing.
Oh, like a Wet Hot American Summer was kind of an inspiration.
Yeah.
And then most officially to the writing of Chris Levin is As Told by Ginger, a small group of episodes called Season of Caprice, where they do a series of camp episodes was another inspiration.
Nice.
Which I think might have been a Nickelodeon property as well.
I believe so, yes.
There's a lot of Nickelodeon going on here.
No, a lot of Nickelodeon. Yeah, my inner child is loving this.
You can't go wrong.
So, quick suggestion for the second one, when it returns, somebody has to say "I don't know" and then get slimed.
Yeah,
and we're going to do the Nickelodeon.
You know what? That might perfectly fit.
Well, I think Kit Raff and his tag team partner used to do a Good Burger or Keenan and Kel gimmick thing.
Oh yes, Keita Murray. Yeah. All that Keita Murray.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that GSW, they had a thing where one of their titles was basically the piece of the aggro crag from Guts, too.
Nice. I'm sure you can get that 3D printed off somebody.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. All right, what's our next segment here?
So during the song, we have a little bit of an interruption from Ethan Wilde again, where he is shutting down Camp Leapfrog. There are 97 camp violations. One of the most severe being the pool is too cold. And so he's going to find out firsthand because everybody grabs him and throws him in, leading to a swimming pool battle royal.
Yeah. Now here's the thing here. When I first seen him, obviously he was wearing the mask a lot for social distancing, and but the more he was on camera and the more he appeared and the more he talked and the more he did his thing, he really won me over as a character. I thought he was excellent. I thought he
He's
had
fantastic.
a great look, and he was absolutely he sold me. Like I thought he was somebody who was like a secondary thought for me, but then about right here is when I was like, this dude is fantastic. Like it was he won me over at this point.
Yeah.
So here we are, the pool battle royal. Boy, was this fun. Let's see how much of Brian has this memerized or has written down.
My notes are a little sparse here, just because there's so much going on, and I want to know what to showcase, what to not. Because eventually I was going to let this let this wash over me, and this is something where if you are going to go back and watch it, I don't want to give up a lot of the good jokes and surprises here. Sam Laterna does kind of get everything started here by throwing the runway into the pool. I don't know if we have to rethink Matt Mikowski though, because he kind of threw our buddies here in the pool too.
Yeah,
he did. He did.
Yeah. Was the pool too cold?
In real life, no. In real life,
well, I figured you guys experienced
it. Let's say that the worst part about the pool is jumping in with your mask on and waterboarding yourself. Yeah, that's the worst part.
And then the match is rolling on here, and we get an elimination, which I popped for. Rhonda Watt here gets an elimination.
That's my mom's.
That's your mom's. Another beautiful young woman. That she may or may not have hung out with Rhino a couple times. Rhino may or may not be your dad.
It's like a whole wrestling legacy at this point.
Yeah,
I'm looking it up. Unfortunately, Rhonda not in the PWI 500. Maybe next year.
I think it will 100% be a thing soon.
However, she did eliminate a PW 500.
Yeah. And she's undefeated. She should be number 1.
She's done more than Marco Stunt, and he was in the top 200.
Well, they are doing the female 50 soon, so there we go.
There we go.
Hint PWI.
Yeah.
She's got a spot.
So
I swear if that happens, I'm just gonna...
I'm telling you, you need to make a
I'm just waiting for it to say Ronda Not So Rousey as like number 49. Perfect.
We're going to write it in. We're going to do a Photoshop job, and we're going to make it look like it was, so everyone goes and rushes to look at it. But so yeah, it comes down to the final elimination, and who thinks they win it here, Brian?
I don't have this in the notes.
I don't remember his name. That's why I was hopefully.
It was Green Ant.
Right?
Yeah, Green Ant. Yeah, sorry. Green Ant thinks he wins the wins it.
I knew it was one of the answers. I forgot it was Greener Thief.
Yeah, and then gets eliminated by Ronda Not So Rousey for the win.
One of the original attendees of Camp Leapfrog.
Yeah, she gets the W here and wins the poolside battle royal. And that pose of her just throwing her arms up in her mask is if that's not on a T-shirt, I'm gonna burn someone's house down.
Considering how many apparently violations there were in the kitchen, maybe wrestling is more for her and not so much being a lunch lady.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I'm thinking if there's a part 2, she's got to serve up some sloppy joes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make them extra sloppy for you.
And that'll be a T-shirt.
Yep. Now, do you want to reveal a possible second outcome to this match?
Yeah, sure. So as it's getting booked, everybody initially it's like Green Ant's going to win. Everybody's kind of booking it. And then Johnny Moran throws Ronda's name into the mix, and everybody kind of loves that. And then Green Ant, as he's doing the eliminations, who's getting eliminated when and where, he goes, "Wouldn't it be funny if I think I win and then Ronda throws me in, and then everybody poolside is chanting Ronda's name, and it becomes a thing.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm like, what is happening? 2020 is taking the weirdest of turns.
It's the best booking ever, by the way. I love all this.
But once I embraced it, I wanted to capitalize, and I'm like, we should get Jackie then to
Savage
walk
Granny.
out, Savage Granny style, push Ronda in, and flip her off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jackie got too shy and made many excuses to not do it.
If I'm going to tell you right now, if Jackie would have pushed Ronda in and flipped off that camera, my entire fucking neighborhood would have been woken up because I would have screamed like a child on Christmas morning getting an N64. I would have lost my mind. So there is a prank video where you and your mom thought Jackie thought she was getting her hair touched up, and you dyed her hair blue, and she was not happy. And one of her quotes, because this is where she gets Savage Granny. She goes, "If I had a gun, I'd shoot you in the face."
Yeah.
And then he tells her to look at the camera and smile to her fans, and she just flips the bone to the camera. And I screenshotted it and said, "This needs to be a T-shirt." And Savage Granny is born. I own the T-shirt. I have it, and then everywhere I go, every time I see her, I say, "Look at you! You are beautiful," and I go give her a big hug. She's amazing. Your mom and your grandmother are beautiful souls, and I'm glad they were involved in this as well. And so Ronda wins. It should have been Jackie, but we'll give Ronda her due. We'll give Ronda her due here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was so much fun. All right, our next thing here.
Somebody that's not having fun is Counselor Moran. He's being chewed out. He's being chewed out by Ethan Wilde because Ethan Wilde is not happy that he got thrown into the pool.
Can't even take a crap without getting in trouble. Look at Moran.
But he suggests that maybe we have a match for the fate of Camp Leapfrog. He'll be in Ethan Wilde's corner and make sure that he beats Brad Rush. Meanwhile, Brad Rush is going to be seconded by Boomer Hatfield. The two counselors will be in the corners here. And that's our main event for the fate of Camp Leapfrog at stake. And this is also more of a more traditional storyline-driven American wrestling match with the evil Ethan Wilde cheating to get ahead and Moran helping to the point where he even attacks Chris Levin and the counselors get involved. Boomer takes out Moran, puts on the ref shirt, and after Brad Rush hits a flying clothesline, he does deliver justice to the camp and gets the pin over Ethan Wilde.
Yeah. Before this match, we had an actual blooper that made the cut, right?
Oh, probably my favorite moment of the entire thing.
So the ring announcer goes to run away from the action and slips and falls and eats it hard.
Like the longest stumble I've ever seen in my life. It was like a 20-foot stumble.
Yeah, I've
never seen that.
He
before.
fell 48 times before he actually fell.
It's so good because we personally didn't even see this happen live. Mm-hmm. We walked up and we noticed that the tiki torch was down. And so it took us like maybe 10 minutes to straighten it out because it was all bent and get it back in there. And then to see that on camera was just something special.
Yeah. So and once again here, not only was he a great character, but he's fantastic in the ring. Great main event here. Yeah. And then we have a little bit of ending conclusions here, right?
Yeah, Wilde is dejected. Even some post-credit stuff's here too.
Yeah,
which is fun.
That's what I was getting into. If you want to jump into that.
Next year, Sam Laterna wants to come back as a camper. So she might be she's been won over by the charm of Camp Leapfrog and the generous amounts of moonshine that Abs is loading into her car. Probably helps too.
And then we had a secondary post-credit scene.
I may have missed this.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't wait to tell you now. So then we have another scene. Oh, actually, what do you guys tell us what happens here?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I just saw the Adina Steele deadlift. Holy hell.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what is the second one? The WWE Legend. Is that the one?
Oh yes, I did see this. Yes,
Yeah.
I did see this.
Okay. Yeah, so Ethan Wilde is down in the dumps. Brad Rush comes in and he kind of is like bearing the hatchet in a sense, but kind of tongue in cheek. It's like, hey man, you know, we'll get you back. We'll get you back to good standing. You kind of you're good out in the ring, whatever. And then he brings in Kim Chi to manage him, which only just makes everything worse for Ethan Wilde.
Kim Chi, who we actually got to meet
Yes.
at PPW.
Yes. I did not know this before you told me this morning.
I did not know either until Brian told me. Because I said, like, yo, Kim Chi used to crack me up because we were talking about the passing of Kamala, and he goes, you met Kim Chi. I was like, no, I
What's
didn't.
funny is when you told me that I had met him, I immediately knew who it was.
Yeah. So backstage, Kim Chi was the Brooklyn Brawler. So overall here, Brian, you give your overall on this.
Very fun, and this is coming from me. My opponent's a Chikara fan. This seems like it's not a ripoff because it's its own individual thing. And Chikara has its own more like almost like a living comic book thing, where this was like a wrestling version of a fun summer comedy, but it didn't overpower the wrestling, which I think was amazing, because once the bell rang, they went, and the story was there to serve the matches, which obviously not the battle royal, which is its own thing, and it's a fun thing, and it is what it is. But for the most part, the story is just there to set up the matches, which is, hey, that's what wrestling should be.
Yeah, I agree. I want more. I hope Camp Leapfrog is something that we get at least once or twice a year, every year. I think not only was it awesome to watch, but knowing you guys and knowing your love and your passion for the wrestling business, and just being close to you guys, and I think you guys do a fantastic job in general. It bleeds through the screen that everyone had a really good time being there, to the point where I was like, man, I wish I just was able to float in the pool all day and watch everyone's experience there, because it looked like it was just so much fun.
And forget about being excited for another Camp Leapfrog. This should get you excited for when things are opening up and high tension wrestling can spread its wings on its own.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like, once again, I don't know how much of it this was you guys, and how much of it was his name just left me.
Chris.
Yeah, well, I think what's happening is that the essence of Camp Leapfrog is also going to be the essence of High Tension, because the Leapfrog was a full-on collaborative effort. Yeah. Every single person that was involved had the ability to have input.
Yeah.
And all of that was like openly considered. We do have a contingency for part 2 if IWTV greenlights it. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, we've already started collaborating, and that's what's going to happen with High Tension. Andrew and myself, Anderson Scott, will be fully collaborating with the talent. We'll come up with a base for the storylines, and we'll let the talent help in that creative process.
Yeah.
As well as like a Chris Levin, who I think is not only going to be, and maybe I'm overstepping my bounds, but I don't think I am. I think he's going to be our head referee, but also a producer of High Tension, even in the live shows.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible mind.
I think it's a great move, man.
I was going to say, he's an incredible mind, not just for wrestling in and of itself, but I think just the entire way of storytelling, and because he does have a very good background in just kind of like the theatrics of wrestling and stuff like that. Like, he's also an encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge. So the fact that he's pulling, the British rounds match out, the fact that he's pulling the trios, the fact that he's pulling all these different styles together, but then also creating a storyline that brings those things all together, and it's not forced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because none of these things to me felt forced, where sometimes you just want to get the diversity on there just to have diversity. But this worked out so well in the grand scheme of things, so I think he's just an absolute genius in that regard. So, I mean, no matter what happens, I'm just looking forward to not only working with him again, but obviously doing some more just high tension stuff in this way. Because I think also this was something we were looking to do more of anyway. Even before the pandemic happened, we wanted to kind of do more cinematic-y style wrestling things anyway. Like kind of have a nice little mix.
Yeah. You were talking
We
doing
wanted, like,
cinematic
those-
before cinematic and wrestling became the norm because of the pandemic. This is stuff that you guys were telling me at PPW shows, that you're like, cinematic is something we want to do. We want high tension to also be not just wrestling, but the fans can tune into our YouTube channel and see build up stuff that you can watch on YouTube before you show up at the show, and some of the stories are being told there. And I thought, man, that's going to be innovative, and I like it, And now it's even more paved the way now, because that's kind of what wrestling fans are expecting, because that's kind of what the big companies are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but the big company does it really bad. That's the difference.
in some aspects. In some aspects, I think some is fun, and some is
also there's two worlds to what will be high tension. I think a DC multiverse in a way. I think we're going to have our live shows, and then on top of Camp Leapfrog, which is kind of like its own little promotion in a way, that's high tension, but it's also IWTV, and it's also Chris Levin. But I think there's also going to be other things that we have a plan for, which is a cinematic universe. So there'll be maybe a high tension Halloween special, a high tension Christmas special, things like that are not. They can use characters from the high tension live shows, but it will wipe away any story that was there. Like, it doesn't intermix.
Okay,
so rivalries could be a friend on that special.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, the future is bright, and I think this is a good launching point to show what you guys can do as a high tension brand, and how you guys can work with others and really put together, and everyone can kind of get together and have a good time and have creative freedom. I think you guys knocked it out of the park. We don't really do like scorecard numbers here. I know we say we do show reviews, but it just pretty much break down the show for what it is, and just say like an overall good or bad. And I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a fun time. Like I said, it looked like an absolute blast. It was all shot in one day. You said you for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure was.
Yeah, I was, because I didn't know if like people camped out and stuff like that. So I don't know if it was like a weekend thing or how it worked, but it was done very well, and I'm very happy for you guys. And
Tony, it's not a real camp.
Yeah, but I didn't know if like they hung out for the weekend. Yeah.
But what if it was?
Come on, keep kayfabe. Come on.
Yeah, because the very last match, the ring was soaked, so I thought maybe it rained for a second or two, or like.
No, that was all Ethan Wilde's clothing from the pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was a little bit of light misting throughout, because actually the forecast was supposed to be like scattered storms that day, so that was another thing that we were super nervous about. But then the system started to shift out of the zone of where we were, so we were just getting little mistings of rain, and we're like, we can do this. Like, we can still work through it. So there were little bits and pieces here and there. That's why the ring, but a lot of that water was actually from his clothing still.
and you also had 2 crustaceans in a bull rope match, which helps too.
This is true.
Yeah. All right, man. In closing, do you guys have anything else you want to put out there or talk about?
I don't know. I mean, for me, just the and so far the reception of Camp Leapfrog is something I don't know. Just this whole thing, I never could have imagined that I'd be part of something like this. From my backgrounds and everything. But the fact that everything about it has been overwhelmingly positive, especially in such a negative landscape right now, just not just wrestling in general, but like the world. There's a lot of negativity going around in the world, and the fact that we could work on something that's overwhelmingly positive just is incredible to me. So that's the biggest thing I'm taking away from this, is just how, like everybody says, it just looks like a bunch of fun. It was positive. I mean, to me, there's no greater compliment than that.
Even down to the booking, unless I'm missing something, I think the babyface won every match, right?
Yeah, no heels won. I actually said that to Alex too. I was like, does any heels win a match?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about that, but it all felt good.
It worked. It worked out perfect. It worked out exactly like a movie would. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, we don't know yet. Maybe the
Part
lunch
two.
lady is poisoning people on purpose. Maybe she's the biggest
Oh
heel
my
of all.
god!
Could be.
Listen.
You never know.
That's
I hope
something.
I hope that's not a shoot.
Brian, anything in closing you want to get out there? Brian.
Oh, me? No. Go watch Camp. I thought you said Anderson. I'm like,
No,
okay, I'll sit back and listen.
No.
No, go watch Camp LEAPFROG. I don't want to just to reiterate everything. Go to IWTV. Use the promo code. Look around too. Look around there. Like it's $10 a month, and there are dozens and dozens. I know we were and we had a little chat going. I'm like, hey Tony, you should watch this thing tomorrow night. Black Label Pro. It's this company out of Indiana. There's just so much on there, and now more than ever, independent wrestling needs your support. So check it out.
Absolutely, and it's not a bad price at all. For $10, you get all that content. Grab it. I know I ordered the T-shirt, the snapback hat, and the champ. I have on my hat here. I don't know if you guys see this glorious thing. I found this. It's an old school.
I love that hat.
And then on it is the actual title belt pin, the eagle.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they actually sell a pin of their title that the current champion Warhorse goes around with. So I like those title belt pins.
He rules ass.
Yeah, he rules
He
ass.
does.
Maybe he can be a camp counselor one day, or at the camp. That'd be
Maybe.
fun.
Very.
That'd be
I
fun.
would not be against that.
Yeah.
He'll be wrestling on that show I brought up. It's I think it's tomorrow night at 9. It's going to be him and Warhorsen, him and Danhausen against Tom Lawler and Lawler and the guy I still think of as the Choo Choo, Eric Stevens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that should be fantastic.
Yeah, this is going to be something we're going to do more often. Is we are going to use IWTV. We're going to be using. I always said IWEP. We are going to be using IWTV. We're also going to be using YouTube platforms. So if you are someone who's in the business or a match you guys want us to check out, this is something me and Brian want to, maybe not every week, but we'll try to work it in when we can. Because we can't do car ride home episodes, we'd like to incorporate and we really want to push people to this independent wrestling TV because it's
next week might be tough because next week Tony and I are going to hate each other.
Yeah, we
So
might need to let
bad.
might need to let the soreness go down a little bit. Let us breathe, and then we'll become friends. And
because if it's going to be Deshaun and if it's going to be Deshaun and Devontae, it's going to be Deshaun laid in.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is something that we are going to do more frequently on weekends here, is me and Brian, because we enjoyed doing the car ride home episodes. That was something that we really like doing and hanging out with each other, and it was just being in the car and talking about a show after we've seen it. So we want to incorporate that, even though we can't do it due to COVID, but still find a way to put over independent wrestling and its talent. So this is something to look forward to. Once again, I'm glad we were be able to have our first guest, not so much in the car, but hanging out with us as the guys who help run the show, and you were behind the scenes. Truly, man, I love you guys. I'm super happy that the wrestling community has brought us together, and we formed this friendship, and we're both doing really cool shit in the business, you know?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
All right. Well, that'll do it here. Once again, guys, go down, check the links below. Follow High Tension on Facebook. Go check out their website, and also on Instagram and Twitter. Follow them, and head over to Independent Wrestling TV and hit that subscription. Use Camp LEAPFROG and watch the show for free. And let them know, man, feedback is amazing. When people create something and they work really hard in it, it takes you 2 seconds to write a comment or just like, hey, man, that was fun. And it really changes someone's perspective when they put a lot of work into it. So definitely do that and show them love. Yeah. And also check out the Wicked Turtle Network, which Alex is a part of. I want to definitely say that too. And also you can go check out those PA Pile Punks. We're coming for you. We're coming for you guys. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Tornado Tech Podcast. We're out of here.